sinister aspects are manifested in black magic and in the use of spells, curses, rituals to control forces of nature, to control enemies, to control people.
From rap artists wearing their symbol to multi-million-dollar movies, the enigmatic and elusive secret society we know as the Illuminati has held us captive in more ways than one.
They have the idea of global government and deciding ultimately which people they want to rule over, which people are going to die.
We are told they originated in the 18th century, but the truth is much older than that. Who are they? What secrets do they hold? When and where did they originate?
There was a race called the Anunnaki, who the earliest civilizations, specifically the Sumerians, said the people who came from above.
They run governments, companies, and religions. They have done so for a very long time. Their names have changed, their faces altered, but their secrets remain the same. We see glimpses of their power. We see the outcome of their plots and schemes. We see revolutions and war. We succumb to their propaganda and manipulation again and again. Most have no idea that they are under the spell. In the 18th century, they emerged briefly into the spotlight to bring about worldwide cataclysmic change, and they called themselves the Illuminati.
But the ones that are really running things behind the scene are not necessarily those ones that you would picture.
Quickly, they spread and embedded themselves and their ideals within other secret societies. The French had a bloody revolution. America turned the tide against a royal regime. Russia, Spain, and more all fell to the zeal of a new world order. This is the story of the world's most powerful secret society, the Illuminati. In 1922, an article was published by somebody who knew the power of the Illuminati. They called themselves Dargon. This is what they said. For centuries, there have existed certain esoteric schools of mystical philosophy originating apparently in several Oriental currents of thought, meeting in the Levant, Egypt, and the Near East. We find in these schools elements of Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and Egyptian occultism mingled with Grecian mysteries, Jewish Kabbalism, and fragments of ancient Syrian cults. Out of the hodgepodge of Oriental philosophy, magic, and mythology arose in the early centuries of the Christian era numerous Gnostic sects, and after the rise of Mohammedanism, several heretical sects among the followers of Islam, such as the Ishmaelites, Druzes, and Assassins, which found their inspiration in the House of Wisdom in Cairo. To the same sources may be traced the ideas that inspired such political religious movements of the Middle Ages as those of the Illuminati, Albigenses, Cathari, Waldenses, Troubadours, Anabaptists, and Lollards. To the same inspirations must be assigned the rise of early secret societies. The Templars are said to have been initiated by the Assassins into anti-Christian and subversive mysteries, And we find similar traces of an old and occult origin in the alchemists, the Rosicrucians, and the later mystical cults, of which Swedenborgian is a familiar example. In this short extract, Dargon gives us a summary of what will be found by any serious investigator of the secret societies of the world, that they are all connected and all derive from a similar, if not the same source. This same source may also be traced through the infamous Essene, the Jewish brotherhood who took themselves off to Damascus, Qumran, and their set about reinvigorating their strict methods of control based upon their very ancient religious belief systems, which themselves may indeed be traced into Egypt. From these white-robed, shining brothers can be found a connection that speaks volumes. One thing is for sure, as Le Conteur des Contenteles said in his Lesseps et Sociétés Secrètes, published in 1863, all secret societies have almost analogous initiations, from the Egyptian to the Illuminati, and most of them form a chain and give rise to others. This analogous form running through all secret societies, apart from the strict method of control, is the underlying belief in and worship of the stars, the sky. It is this element which named them the Shining Ones, and it is this element that is still at the root of so much misinterpreted symbolism. Even the holy them were Visons, who had the sun and the stars as symbols of power. This worship of the stars was known as Sabiism, and the High Mason Albert Pike pointed out the 7 great primitive nations, from whom all others are descended, the Persians, Chaldeans, Greeks, Egyptians, Turks, Indians, and Chinese, were all originally Sabiist and worshipped the stars. These stars are one section of the original illumination. The very power of understanding the stars was jealously guarded by all priesthoods around the world, from Aztec to Egyptian. In each case, the role of the priest was to interpret the movement of the stars, sun, and moon in order to better predict the future and for navigation. This jealousy forged ciphers, codes, and symbols. It forced the hiding and destruction of implements and tools of the trade. Many of the Freemasonic symbols we see today were never meant for building. They were meant for astrology, or the logic of the stars. The Holy Them also had a secret that reveals this. The stick, stone, string, and grass were implements used to measure. The stone tied to the string, attached to the stick, and placed in the ground were used for ruling the ground, a mystical and almost very real device. This gave rise to the rule over mankind, for knowledge is power. These secrets of the stars were deemed mystical, for the populace could not understand how such magic was done, and these secrets were passed from one generation to the next by initiates and adepts. This is how the long thread has been woven, generation following generation, passing on knowledge and keeping it hidden. Eventually and often, the secret brotherhoods no longer know why they keep their odd symbols secret and why they say the strange invocations. But through their traditions and by their dedication to their brothers, they kept alive a rich tapestry that can be broken down and reinterpreted. The truth is almost never to be found in the picture we see before us, and so we must pull hard on the thread and begin to unravel the tapestry one generation at a time. According to Les Contours de Decontele, the priests or leading men of the organization followed the Egyptian hierarchy. In the first instance, there was the priest who alone could do magic and contact the gods. In the second, we shall find the greater initiates, those chosen from amongst the people who must maintain secrecy at all costs and protect the priesthood. Thirdly, the lesser initiates who were only told things that were deemed proper. In this hierarchical trinity, we see an exact plan of most, if not all, of the world's secret societies. The majority of Freemasons today would fall into the category of the lesser initiates. They are only aware of what they are told, and being kept at this distance and level of knowledge, they seek no more because they know of no more. Only at the highest degrees of Freemasonry are the real secrets maintained, and yet there have been some who claim to have been higher level initiates, or indeed priests, who have since spilled the beans. Anybody who has seen these supposed secrets of white powdered gold and even Jewish conspiracy plots will know that this is misinformation at best and money-making at worst. One of the things we learn is not to believe everything we are told. We should not have to state this so obviously in the 21st century, because ancient philosophers told us this a long time ago. The sad fact is that due to new generations emerging all the time, we tend to learn very little and to leave the past behind. Each generation has to start from scratch and tends to look forward, forgetting that our past holds intelligent and thought-provoking answers to questions that are and will always be relevant. Because we begin each generation fresh and new, we also do not see the thread running through each generation from the one before, the thread of the secret society. In the last century, we had the emergence of psychology and psychoanalysis and the clever new words that came with them. But are we so arrogant to think that we invented the discovery of human psychological problems? This is, of course, utter rubbish. Psyche herself was a Greek goddess. For thousands of years, man has sought answers to his own inner reality. The only thing that has changed radically is the wording. Now we say somebody is psychotic. Our ancestors would have said they are touched by the spirits. But are we any more advanced than our ancestors? 90% of the globe still believe in God. We still wage war in the name of religion. We still pollute the environment and destroy our own home. There is, in fact, anthropological evidence to prove that very ancient man was actually peaceful, living in harmony with his neighbor, and even respected the earth and lived in balance with it. The evidence then shows that as society grew and more people occupied smaller spaces, minor wars erupted and even violent sacrifices. The evidence also shows that small bands of men gathered together to control those who fought. These small bands emerged as our kings and queens, medicine men and priests, and of course our secret societies. There is a lesson here for us all. Just 100 years ago, there was 1 billion people on the planet. Now there is 7 billion, and it is growing all out of proportion. 7 billion people can do a lot of harm to themselves and the environment, thus destroying the whole for everyone. Without balance, without wisdom, without knowledge, then where are we heading? Man collects himself together into groups, like fish in a school or birds in a flock. These groups become religions, secret societies, governments, in fact, just about any group. There is a simple reason for this grouping, and it is exactly the same for the animals. We form together for protection against predators. There is strength in numbers. Whether you are a Freemason or a Boy Scout, the ultimate reason you join forces with others of like race and like mind is because you see strength and protection. We may think and believe that some spark in the biochemical and electric brain is enlightenment, but it is not. Our masters fed us filth and kept us in the dark. We are told what to be like, what to buy, what to do and say. We no longer need to know ourselves. The television and internet has all the answers. But the fact is, what we see on the television is a reflection of greed, money, capitalism, and these can easily be the dark forces of human nature. Light and dark are opposite sides of the same coin. Balance is wisdom, and it is like a coin placed upon its edge, and like a coin, it can easily be knocked over. You desire a good life for your family, but that does not have to include a range of cars, a yacht in every port, or another million. You are not a communist. You are a realist, and the reality is that while one man has, another does not. Our evolutionary instinct is to gather goods, property, and wealth for the bad times ahead, to see us through the winter or the coming storm. The downside of this is that we grow that divisive side of our nature, greed, and somebody somewhere suffers. We join forces with others and hold that newfound cabal in secrecy, protecting it from the profane. Time matures this force, and very quickly it becomes unrecognizable. This is the driving force behind the secret society. The ancient Chinese texts tell us that mankind has been in this situation before many times, and that his greed and noise has brought his civilization crashing down to the ground. How close are we to doing it again? How noisy are we? There is one symbol that helps us track down the ancient secret societies, and especially the Illuminati, the snake. According to popular belief, the original secret society was called the Brotherhood of the Snake. Although no real historical records of an ancient Brotherhood of the Snake is in existence, it is a fact that the rituals and beliefs of this supposed secret organization are similar to many that do exist and are strangely related to the serpent. There had been an ancient and worldwide serpent religion that migrated across the globe. They worshipped the serpent as a symbol of ultimate wisdom, and they were known as the Shining Ones, or Illuminati. Both terms relate to the stars that shine in the sky, and the inner illumination gained through meditation or the use of holy drugs. Merged with solar, lunar, and cosmic belief systems, this ancient faith did indeed take on a worldwide aspect, utilizing the serpent on many levels. Eventually, these beliefs crept into secret cults and societies and became hidden. Almost in every aspect, these secret societies played a religious role, contacting God or the gods in ways that the state religion cannot or will not. They therefore had to remain secret. This in itself gives us a good insight. It is a stark fact that religion or belief are excellent ways of drawing in members and utilizing a heightened state in the individual for their own ends, whatever they may be. As with most religions, the members of secret societies are chosen ones, members of the few. clear example of this is the way that Christians say, without knowing the real meaning of these phrases, that the way is narrow, or that it is easier to pass through the eye of a needle than to enter the kingdom of God. This in turn makes the initiate feel more important when accepted, even though precious few are turned down at the initiate stage. This chosen way is universal and not just the remit of secret societies or religion. It is also found in normal everyday clubs and organizations, where you still have to pass tests that are blatantly measured to allow everyone in, but at different levels. The idea of there being different levels then moves the process on and ensures that the new initiate strives to become an inherent or full member by learning the ways of the club or society, and thus the initiate becomes fully engulfed in the world of the society. Secret societies take this membership a step further by including certain devices within the knowledge bank that the initiate must learn. These devices include secret handshakes and words, special days of the year known only to the few, and insights into standard texts. All this and more makes the initiate feel more important. In all instances, the ultimate enlightenment experience seems to be kept back for the very highest levels of initiation. Lower levels of illumination are permitted and used for the lower degrees. This is also a buildup of comradeship through regular meetings. This allows the member to feel part of a wider family and thus more important. Speak to any serving military personnel, and one of the major factors in the success of their unit is put down to camaraderie. This leads the member down a path into a secret society of such emotional depth that to leave would feel like losing a member of the family. The Illuminati, through their links with the Jesuits, became brilliant at this. The initiation of any institute is the most important part. Generally, it involves a ritual built around a seemingly impossible to understand myth. There are levels to the initiation, just as there are in any religion. It actually starts earlier than most people would understand, with just being chosen or selected to join. This selection process appears to have a plan, and the fact that the word chosen is used implies that not all can enter. In fact, from studies of societies, the process is almost random, the true selection coming much later. Those not selected for the higher levels are in fact still members and do the bidding of higher members without actually knowing it, and without knowing that they are often on a lower level. During the initial stages of any initiation, the new member is cleaned, or in simple terms, cleared of any thinking that would not benefit the society or religion. This can be seen in the world in general, with the military learning especially from this psychological battle of wills. By breaking down the spirit of the recruit, the Army is clearing him or her of any preconceived ideas and allowing the full mind-bending techniques to appear unsullied in the mind of the new soldier. The same is true of secret societies, as the new recruits are told to leave the world behind, including family and friends who are called distractions or are of the world or devil. They are then given as a replacement the new family of the church or society, who at this stage of the process are always forthcoming with help and love to such an extent that the recruit is overwhelmed with joy, a joy that remains in the new recruit's mind, deeply entrenched due to the cleaning process previously carried out. This in turn inspires loyalty and a desire for more. The church and society alike supply the demand with mystical insights that can, again, only be supplied to those who pass tests. These tests are created to deepen the bonds of the initiate yet further. With each new learning process, the adherent feels more and more special and is indeed given special status. There are tests which are put in place to determine whether the initiate has the ability to move further. The deeper aspects of these organizations are as ever more and more secret, and at the highest level they have to be, as this is where the true secret or purpose of the society or religion lies. The Knights Templar tested the initiate with the spitting on the cross. The reason is simple and has nothing to do with the irreverence spoken of by the church. On one level, if the initiate fails to spit upon the cross as requested, he is rewarded for his true faith with membership and believes he has made it. On the other level, if he does spit upon the cross, then he has shown true discipline and will be led by the master's authority wherever they may take him. This initiate will move further up the scale that is hidden to the first who failed to follow the command. Secret Society author Von Hammer said, "As soon as the proselyte arrived at the 9th degree, he was ripe to serve as a blind instrument to all passions and above all to a limitless ambition for domination." We thus see those who should have been protectors of humanity abandoned to an insatiable ambition, buried under the ruins of thrones and altars in the midst of horrors of anarchy after having brought misfortune upon nations and deserving the curse of mankind. The effects of the ways of the society are seen to the outside world as strange and unusual. However, these can eventually become the norm and accepted by the general population. Take, for instance, Christianity. In the early years of its existence, it was classed as a cult or indeed secret organization due to having to remain underground. The reason being that the state religion believed itself far removed from the Christian cult's creeds, when in reality they were the same solar beliefs. Roman philosophies were then what we now class as pagan, but were in fact followed by the majority. But even they had been underground at one point in their existence. Eventually, this underground stream of Christianity grew and grew, with members in position of state authority joining. This in turn made it more and more acceptable. Yes, there was a lot of state hatred for this cult on the surface because of its secret ways and its threat to the state religions. Christianity had secret signs, secret handshakes, special myths and rituals, just as any secret organization. And this is the nub of the secret society question. It is the fact that it has to remain secret because of the state that makes it a secret society. Eventually, Christianity ruled the majority of the globe and was itself then fighting against underground streams, which retained the mysteries of ancient myth, as we shall discover. Amazingly, exactly the same can be said of Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, and even communism, all which began as secret and clandestine organizations seemingly against the state, just like the secret society of the Nazis in the 1930s. All these now standard organizations or religions began within secrecy and ended up taking power, a goal mocked by anti-conspiracy theorists around the globe. The fact remains that history has shown in every generation that secret societies have gained power and became church and state, as was their goal. Today we have secret societies across the world in each country, all with their own goal and all being watched as ever by the state. The Arabs and some Christians believe that the Jews are in charge of worldwide conspiracies to take over the world. The Druze and the Yazidis in Syria and elsewhere are seen as threats to the norm. The Illuminati are seen as a threat by many and are believed to be at the heart of Christian American power.
Above that, I would even say there is the banker system, the House of Rothschilds, J.P. Morgans, the Rockefellers, who can control the money system. Now, if you can control money, you basically can control people.
The Christian community believes that global terrorism is funded and carried out by worldwide networks of Islamic secret organizations. What history has shown is that eventually, these underground streams do indeed alter the power balance of the world. Just look at September 11th and the disgusting attacks on America. They were carried out by clandestine secret organizations and did indeed alter the world. Another example was the revolt in America against the British Empire, which has backed, led, and inspired the secret society of the Freemasons. In Russia and France, the revolutions were similarly created by secret organizations. This does not mean that every attempt by every secret society will work, and history is littered with hundreds of such failed attempts. Others have managed to claim power only fleetingly. Another interesting point to note, and something that relates entirely to our understanding of the Illuminati, is that many of the great minds the world has ever come to know were members of secret organizations. Plato was an initiate into the mysteries of Eleusis, and he even tells us in his writings how he was initiated. He claimed that he was placed in a pyramid for 3 days, where he died symbolically, was then reborn, and was then given the secrets of the mysteries. There is no wonder that this great pyramid was claimed to be part and parcel of the mysteries. The names given to it, Ikat and Kuti, meant glorious light or shining. Eventually, of course, it would come to be the ultimate symbol of the Illuminati themselves. So what is a secret society? Is it simply a group of individuals basing their origin in the mists of time, or in the celestial and solar dance of the cyclic universe, who come together to effect change? Sometimes they are successful, sometimes they are not, but in most cases, they effect some kind of change in society at large. They are on the whole spiritually based. And what we will discover is that there is a major thread running through those that have been successful, and that thread is illumination, which gave rise to the name, the Shining Ones, or Illuminati. In the 18th century, a Freemason wrote the following words: "There are a certain number of people who have arrived at the highest degree of imposture. They have conceived the project of reigning over opinions and of conquering not kingdoms nor provinces, but the human mind. This project is gigantic and has something of madness in it, which causes neither alarm nor uneasiness. But when we descend to details, when we regard what passes before our eyes of the hidden principles, when we perceive a sudden revolution in favor of ignorance and incapacity, we must look for the cause of it. And if we find that a revealed and known system explains all the phenomena which succeed each other with terrifying rapidity, how can we not believe it?" The Illuminati are for many the men in black, the silent masters in the background who plot our futures. To others, they are fable, a boys' club created by frustrated Freemasons in the 18th century. There is, as ever, truth in all, but we must understand that most of the time we end up believing exactly what their marketing and propaganda wants us to believe. Do the Illuminati still exist? Are they the world's most powerful secret society at the heart of it all? Standard history tells us that they were started by John Adam Weishaupt, the founder of the Order of the Illuminati. Weishaupt was born in Bavaria on February 6, 1748. His father, Baron Eckstadt, was a professor at the University of Ingolstadt, having married the niece of the curator. The Baron secured a scholarship at the Jesuit College for Adam, who then went on to become a law student at the age of 15. Ingolstadt was a steadfastly Jesuit area and had been for over 200 years. Dissent was not permitted, even though they had been partially suppressed in 1773 by Clement XIV. It has been said of the Jesuits that they were the world's largest and most powerful secret service, due mainly to the fact that they were feared by many in the Catholic Church, and that a universal confession could be well utilized for blackmail. The Jesuits were founded by Saint Ignatius of Loyola and 9 companions, just like that other mysterious group, the Knights Templar. Interestingly, Nicolas Poussin, the infamous painter of the shepherds in Arcadia, made famous by the Da Vinci Code, was also a Jesuit, and it seems, from the pages of history, that the Jesuit order has been at the butt of many outrages. They are intimate with the Vatican, and history has shown that there is little in the politics of the world that the Vatican has not had a hand in. According to converted nun M.F. Cusack, the Jesuits offer the world at large a system of theology by which every law, divine or human, may be broken with impunity, and by which the very bulls of popes may be defied. It is a ghastly religion. It is a religion to be abhorred by all honest and honorable men. So, according to this 19th century writer, they were even above the bulls of the Pope. Edwin A. Sherman, an American Freemason, also writing in the 19th century, stated, "The Jesuits laugh at us, and during their hilarity, the rattlesnake is coiled at our feet, climbing to strike us in the heart." Even President Lincoln, who was finally assassinated after numerous attempts, said, "The Jesuits are so expert in those deeds of blood that Henry IV said that it was impossible to escape them, and he became their victim, though he did all he could to protect himself. I know that the Jesuits never forgot nor forsake." It seems like a peculiar world that the Jesuits inhabit. On the one hand, they fraternize with Freemasons, royalty, and presidents, and on the other, taking an oath which puts them at odds with just about everybody who is not Catholic. It is into this world that Weishaupt was brought up. By 1775, Weishaupt was professor of canon law of Ingolstadt, and it was this year that he or someone else chose for Weishaupt to form a plan for an association of which he would head. This association would oppose the forces of superstition and lies, or in other words, religion. The thoughts of many commentators is that Weishaupt so hated the Jesuits that he thoroughly intended to do away with them once and for all. Others believe that Weishaupt was in fact trained by the Jesuits for the purpose of raising a worldwide army of spies who would constantly be feeding back information, the information that the Jesuits could not get anymore through their confessions. In fact, the Illuminati even set up their own confessions in line with that of the Jesuits. All of this surveillance and confession was fed back to the Jesuits from the very people who were supposed to be against them. How better to find out what is in the mind of the opposition than to be the opposition? This is a standard double ploy utilized for centuries by the secret services of all religions and states. They even fed the anti-Semitic rhetoric, which suited the Catholic Church down to the ground. Through associations with the Freemasons, the Jesuits managed to get information from and influence to the Freemasons of the globe. Just how much influence the Illuminati finally had or have is unknown. This is the idea of secrecy. But what can be seen is that following Weishaupt's amazing creation out of the order of a much older institution, we suddenly have several worldwide revolutions and the balance of power shifting like never before. However, even though Weishaupt and his close friend Zawak were banished and never seen again, there can be nothing read into this. It could be that they were simply rewarded with a long holiday out of the way, or were, as some believe, sent to Saxe-Coburg and the Netherlands to start the whole thing again. There are older links for the Illuminati, though, that stretch right back into the realm of the Shining Ones in Afghanistan. This link is with the Roshaniya, or Illuminated Enlightened Ones, and reference to them comes from the House of Wisdom in Cairo, a veritable fount of esoteric knowledge predating the Roshaniya by hundreds of years. Again, initiation and ritual matchup between the Roshaniya and others such as the Muslim assassins, who we know influenced the Templars and hence Christianity. The earliest leader we know of is Bayezid Ansari, who claimed descent from the helpers of Muhammad. Who exactly these helpers were, nobody knows. Suffice to say, their existence in helping Muhammad escape Mecca pinpoints them in space and time, if nothing else. It was claimed that Bayezid was indoctrinated by the Ismailis, themselves close to the assassins and having hidden lodges around the world. These Ismailis came about to protect a great secret of Islam after the Crusades, in much the same manner as the Cathars protected some strange secret knowledge. It seems that the Ismailis recruited well as the Illuminated Ones grew fast. Bayezid taught a series of supernatural exercises which were believed to lead to enlightenment and the Great Secret, an obvious allusion to the fact that the Great Secret is enlightenment. To obtain this illuminative aspect of the secret, they had to undergo the usual meditation and fasting called kilwat, silence. Using merchants and soldiers, Bayezid eventually spread his message across the world by word of mouth, and those Gnostics and mystics who heard the message already understood the secret of illumination. Eventually, Bayezid, who was not known as the Sage of Illumination, founded a great city at Hastanega, with the message of human fulfillment emanating from its center. It was understood that utilization of the human mind in the enlightened aspect could bring about wonders. Eventually, Bayezid died, and his sons as successors were not really up to the job. However, only 40 years after the last leader of the Illuminated Ones died, Weishaupt started his Illuminati. As Akron Doral says in Secret Societies, coincidences of date and beliefs connect these Bavarian Illuminati with the Afghan ones, and also with the other cults which call themselves Illuminated. The beginning of the 17th century saw the foundation of the Illuminated Ones of Spain, the Alumbrados, condemned in an edict of the Grand Inquisition in 1623. In 1654, the Illuminated Guianes came into public notice in France. Documents still extant show several points of resemblance between the German and Central Asian Illuminists, points which are hard to account for on the grounds of pure coincidence. The Roshaniya have some telling symbols and rituals. The priests were identified with a secret sign where they crossed over both hands flat on the forehead, the place of the third eye and illumination. The colors of the Roshanea and the Ishmaelis were red and white. These colors are widespread amongst the secret orders, such as the Knights Templar, who also had a red cross on their white clothes. The red and white being symbolically important for the Enlightenment process. Red and white were also incredibly important in the Far East, where we find more illuminated ones known popular as the Triad. Unfortunately, finding the origins of most Chinese secret societies is nearly impossible, as they are so couched in myth and mystery. One thing is sure, that secret societies have changed the course of China. The Boxer Rebellion of 1900 was led by a secret society. These Boxers, or Fist for Protection Society, were initiated in much the same manner as any other across the world. Placed in darkness, alternating light that were made to fast and meditate, opening up their minds to cleansing. This Boxer society came from an older group known as the Big Swords, and this was another name used by the Triads. In the 12th century, at the time of the Crusades, there were gatherings of men who took oaths to regard the stars as our brothers and heaven and earth as our father and mother. These same men drank each other's blood mixed with wine. By the 14th century, the White Lotus Society was formed, and eventually China is scattered with secret societies. However, most of these organizations can be linked together and form the triad we know of today. This group of societies were believed to have been formed for a popularized royalist myth to bring back the Ming Dynasty. However, hundreds of years and even the attainment of power have not resolved this supposed goal. But the reason for this non-attainment is simple. Ming actually means light, and is the real element these secret societies wish to see restored. It is the light of the Shining Ones, or Illuminati, spreading back hundreds, if not thousands of years, even in the heart of Red China, that the secret societies still strive for. We know that this is the case because once the Lotus Society had installed the Ming Dynasty to the throne in the 14th century, it was only by the 17th century that they were disposed again by the same society. The Society of Jesus was founded in 1540 by Saint Ignatius Loyola, and since then has grown from the original 7 to nearly 30,000 members who work out of nearly 2,000 houses in over 100 countries. According to J. Parnell McCarter, in his Puritan news service, Ignatius himself was a Gnostic Illuminist, a member of the Alumbrados of Spain, his home, bringing full circle the Jesuits being created by an Illuminati and then going on to create an Illuminati. All of this was occurring at the same time as the rise in Freemasonic thought. What is known about Ignatius is that he was a Spanish Basque soldier who then supposedly underwent an extraordinary conversion while recuperating from a broken leg. His experiences were written down and he called them spiritual exercises, going on later to found the Society of Jesus, or Jesuits, with the approval of Pope Paul III in 1540. Strangely, upon the printing of his spiritual exercises in 1548, he was brought before the Inquisition, but was later released. According to the Catholic Church, the Jesuits have become renowned for their sanctity, which basically means that they had many members canonized or blessed. They have been involved in many scientific discoveries and in the exploration of the New World. They are governed by the general congregations. From the start, the Pope was overwhelmed with the Jesuit service becoming his secret police, collector of information, and general bully boys, much akin to the history of the Illuminados. On the face of it, the Jesuits were opening schools, making amazing discoveries, and sending missionaries out across the world. In fact, it is claimed by the Catholic Church that no order has ever had so many martyrs. The skill of the Ignatius Loyola was in the gathering around him of an energetic band of well-educated and determined men. Ignatius had the concept of supplying the church with missionaries such as Francis Xavier, who would preach and administer the sacraments whilst growing the church's membership and gathering huge amounts of information and money. Ignatius soon discovered that colleges and universities offered the greatest service to the church, for by and through religious instruction, the Jesuits could manipulate the thinkers as well as the masses who are manipulated in church on Sunday. This is something they later passed on to Weishaupt and his Illuminati as he wrote, "I propose academies under the direction of the order. This will secure us the adherence of the literati. Science shall here be the lure." These Jesuit schools of learning sprang up everywhere and became an influential part of Catholic reform called a rebirth of the infant church. So influential were the Jesuits that they threatened the royalty and they were asked to leave several countries. To see just how influential the Jesuits have been, we need to look at what the Catholic Church claimed on their behalf. By 1750, 30 of the world's 130 astronomical observatories were run by Jesuit astronomers. And indeed, 35 lunar craters have been named to honor Jesuit scientists. We must remember that at a time of exploration, the knowledge of the shining stars in the sky was very powerful for navigation. The Gregorian calendar, instigated by the Jesuit Christopher Clavius, sometimes called the most influential teacher of the Renaissance. According to the Catholics, until recent times, no foreign name was as well known in China as the Jesuit Matteo Ricci. 5 of the major rivers of the world were first charted by Jesuit explorers. 2 of the statues in Washington are Jesuits. The Jesuits founded São Paulo. Spanish Jesuits built settlements in Paraguay, which lasted from 1607 to 1767. They taught agriculture, architecture, metallurgy, farming, music, ranching, and printing to the indigenous people of each country they occupied. How better to build wealth? In 1773, Pope Clement XIV yielded to Bourbon pressure and reduced the power of the Jesuits on the surface. The Jesuits followed orders and disbanded temporarily until 1814, when they were brought back together again. Like the Knights Templar, before them the Jesuits simply assumed other roles. As if to prove that the Jesuits were ultimately obedient to the Pope in 1590, Pope Sixtus V wanted to take out the name Jesus from the official name of the society, to which the Jesuits duly complied, although Sixtus then surprisingly died. The questions arise, who killed him, and does this really show obedience to the Pope? Today, the Jesuits are back in force, with schools, colleges, and universities across the world. At any one time, they are educating over 500,000 people. President Mitterrand of France was himself a Jesuit, and it was he who instigated the infamous Pyramid of Light at the Louvre in Paris. In short, the Jesuits were and still are one of the most powerful religious orders on the planet. The man who created what has been called the most powerful secret society was trained by them. Weishaupt founded the Illuminati on May Day, 1776 in Bavaria. He called himself Brother Spartacus, as if mimicking the rebellion from within. There was no democratic leadership, no voting, no equality. The Illuminati was led by clever and powerful people. Very quickly it set about creating an international network of spies and counter-spies. They set up in cells, with each cell having a secret superior. The structure was closed, with lower levels having no idea who was above them. Weishaupt then targeted the Freemasons and was initiated into the Munich Lodge in 1777. He attempted to reform them, and when this failed, he began recruitment drives within their own lodges. It was a brilliant ploy, using a secret society to build a secret society. His stated goal was to perfect human nature through education. He would free people from government and organize religion. In this way, Weishaupt grew his Illuminati rapidly and drew in those who were seen by government and religious leaders as trouble. Claiming to free people from the bounds of society, the Illuminati, in fact, gave him even harder rules and regulations to follow. Even their reading literature was prescribed. This was not enlightenment or freedom. This was control of the mind under a veil. Indeed, independent thought and action was forbidden by the rules of the order. Enlightenment, they said, would only take place under the guide of the superior. In 1784, Weishaupt's writings was intercepted by the Secret Service of the Bavarian government. It was said to be seditious, and the order was banned. Weishaupt lost his position at the university and fled. But he didn't stop there. In fact, he received the financial assistance of Duke Ernest II of Saxe-Gotha-Altenburg, where he lived and wrote works on Illuminism. The order was claimed to be an offshoot of the Enlightenment movement and modeled on the Freemasons. There were three main classes within the order, made up of freethinkers and activists. The aim, they said, was to remove superstition and the dominance of government. They said they supported the education of women and saw them as equals. Using such grand designs, the Illuminati managed to draw together intellectuals and progressive politicians. It eventually had branches in most European countries. We are supposed to believe that thousands of people across Europe suddenly stopped attending Illuminati meetings, that they just gave up. We are told that because the Bavarians had outlawed it, their grand ideas of reducing the dominance of religion and state ended there. And yet, even in 1798, there were rumblings that they had not died. Many even claimed they were behind the French Revolution, which brought down government, royalty, and religion. So powerful was the fear of the Illuminati that Christian preachers gave sermons across Europe and even in the United States. What we do know is that the world has changed. Royal houses did fall. Religion was supposedly attacked and changed. Revolutions occurred across the world. And all of this following the creation of the Illuminati, and within a very short time period. Today, there are many organizations that claim direct descent from the Illuminati. The truth is not so simple. The truth is that the thought was fostered and spread. A claim that people were equal and could themselves achieve enlightenment without religion. This control of the establishment was simply replaced by another. It was nothing new. Kings were only kings so long as the church said they had divine authority. When the Catholic Church, through the invasion of controlled foreign powers, took hold in a country, they simply altered things and absorbed people into the fold. Resident pagan gods were simply canonized and became saints. Local religious leaders were indoctrinated into the ways of the Catholic Church and became priests. Power was spread, not always by force, but by amendment of what was already there. By the 18th century, it was recognized that there was a growing number of people not happy with the dictatorial approach of the Pope and his underlings. That resentment was creeping in, and so the most powerful secret service, the Jesuits, stepped in and created a secret order to attract them. They took in the newly found Freemasons and all those who were pointing out the flaws of the church. They listened to them, collected data on them, and instigated control through a clever series of superiors. As they grew too powerful, they were disbanded and went back to the Freemasons' fold to spread their ideas. And yet, all of that is too easy, too simple. Intellectuals and free thinkers would not just go quietly home. The symbolism of the Illuminati spread, just as they did. It exists to this day as symbols in the Freemason Society and on US dollar bills. Their influence was vast. Over the past 200 years, the church has adapted and is no longer outwardly dictatorial and no longer the perceived threat it was in the 18th century. It had to change, as it always has. The royal houses that toed the line joined the Freemasons and even patronized many orders have remained. Those that did not have been swallowed up in revolutions. Such revolutions do not just happen overnight. They are created, fostered, and brought to fruition by very clever people who need backup and finance. The revolutions of the French, American, Russian, Spanish, and more have all been instigated by secret societies, all with the aim of overturning the authorities on behalf of the people. And yet, the people are still in control of the elite. It's just in a different way. Today, instead of being indoctrinated into a church, we are manipulated by the media. In all cases, that media is controlled by the elite or government. It is this modern-day stained glass window and him to keep the masses happy and entertained. We are born, given a number, stamped with our country of origin, cajoled into debt and education they own and control. Nobody is free of paying their taxes. The Illuminati were a group created by the same elite that have always manipulated us and still do. We like to have names for things, so we still call the elite the Illuminati. It is the control, the power, the wealth that is the truth behind all of the conspiracies of the world that we are aware of.
And what they do is they use their influence, they use their power to create circumstances where they're literally able to enslave people. They're literally able to control them behind the scenes through the money supply, through deciding what kind of policy gets passed, through influencing politicians and doing that. And we could go on, but it goes more than monetary. It goes, deciding who is going to be favored, who's even through pharmaceutical companies and health going to live or die. And it's a long, long study.
Rome was a powerful empire. Our history books tell us that it collapsed, and yet it became the home of one of the biggest religions on the planet. The soldiers left the shores of Europe and were replaced with priests. Control of countries and their people was now in the hands of those who owned the stairway to heaven, and only through them could we, the ordinary people, achieve enlightenment. It does not matter to those in control whether we pay our tithes to the priest or the Illuminati superior, just as long as we pay. There are numerous groups across time that we know were created to protect some great secret. The Ismailis, the Assassins, the Knights Templar, the Cathars, the so-called Priory of Sion, and a lot more. No one has been able to prove any theory that the secret was the child of Jesus or the burial place of the Holy Grail or any other fanciful notion. The reason is simple, because all of the supposed secrets are smokescreens. The real secret is that they were outside guardians of an inner sanctum of elite that crossed cultural and religious boundaries and have existed for a very long time. The long line of hidden leaders that stretches back to the very first shaman, priests, judges, and magi. The ones who are the king makers and the king breakers. The ones who place the crown upon their pawn's head, who whisper in their ear. These are the true Illuminati, hidden and yet in full view for all to see.